Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. This is the lecture number 12, C programming course. This lecture describe how we can use functions with arrays. That means how we can pass arrays to a functions. Example number 1, write C program to pass a single element of an array to a function. As you see in this example, hash include stdio.h, void display f. The name of the function here is display f. This function accepts an integer and only just one value, and it return nothing, void. We have main. The main should return integer. This is why here the return is 0, because we don't have something to return. Inside the main we have integer age array. We are declaring array with size, unlimited size, that accept any size. It will accept integer values. What are the array elements? They are just 2, 3, 4. That means we have just 3 values. 2, 3, 4. My advice to you guys, don't keep the array without size. I prefer to put the size like this. Now display f, in this line we are calling a function. The function name is display f by passing an element or a value. This value, it's the array age array of 2. That means we are passing the element, the array element with index of 2. That means the third element, which is 4, and this is just a comment, return 0. Now the flow of the program, once we call the function here, the flow of the program, it will go from this line directly to the function block, and it just print an integer. This integer is the age. What is the age? Age declared here, guys. That means when we call the function here, we are passing this value. So a copy from the array element number 3, which is 4, will be passed to here, to the age. And when we print, we are printing the age. So actually we are printing the same value, which is 4. This is example how we can pass just one element of the array to any function. Example number 2. In this example, it says write C program to pass an array containing 6 ages of person to a function. These ages, let us do it as integer better. We can keep, it means 22 and 6 months as example, but keep it integers, no problem. Okay. This function should find average age and display the average age in the main. That means in the main we have to declare the array, this array in the main, and then we will call the function. The function should calculate the average age and return it to the main. In the main we have to display the average. So let us start. In the main we need to declare the array. The array elements, they are floats or integers. We can say integer. The array element, the array name, sorry, say that ages array AR. The size of the array, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Better to put the size. Semicolon. We need the average, so we need also the average. So let me declare the average as double. So double, say that AVG. Now we want to calculate the average. Before that we have to define the ages array. We can put it here in the declaration or after, it's up to you. So let me write ages array AR equal to first brace, end brace, start or end. Now we have 23, 55, 22, 3, 40, 18. Okay, again, I told you we can put this one here. Okay, now we will call the function by typing its name. Say the name of the function. It is say that average age. Function name is average age, or average function, average function. We have to pass the array. The array name is ages AR. Don't write like this, no need. When you call the function by passing the array, if you want to pass the array without the brackets. Okay, now it's better to, actually we know the number of elements. It's better to pass number of elements of the array to the function. And also because we know that the number of elements is 6, no need here, but we can pass it if you want to write like this. Okay, or n, it depends on the question itself. Now when you call this function, the function will pass a copy from ages array, or it will send the address actually of this array to the function, and the function should calculate the average and return it back to the main here. So you have to keep it in a variable. So let us say that we want to keep it in avg. So avg equal the call of the function. So once this function called, it will pass the ages array to the function. The function will calculate the average, then return it back to here, then assign it to avg, then it continue here. Now we want to print the value. Let me copy the print, copy paste here. So we want to print the value. The value is the average. Say that the average age is, say it is a double, so we have to reserve LF, reserve a space for a double, with precision and width of 5.2. As example, you can select any number at top. Then \n to go to next line. Outside comma. Now from we will get this value from the avg variable. This is avg variable, and then here we want to print end, and here go to next line like the other one. If I will run the program, I will face a problem. I will get a mistake. We got a message that invalid value of assignment operator here. It doesn't accept to define array here. It's okay. We can cut and put it here and remove this one. Run the program. Okay. Function if average f not defined. That means we have to define it. To define a function, as I told you before the main, we have to just write the declaration. I prefer that, because when you want to open the program, the first thing you want to see is the main. So better just write simple line, one line to declare the function, and write the function block or definition after the main. So this function, it will return double. So double, the average is double. Okay, the name of the function is average f. Okay, we have to pass a value, one value. Type of the value here, it is an array, integer array, so we can write integer array like this. Just write integer, the type of the elements in the array, and this symbol to show that it's an array, not a normal variable. And no need to write a name for the array, without name, and even without size here, better. Okay, semicolon. Now we can, to define the function, we can copy definition, go to the after the main, and then paste it, and then remove the semicolon. Now when you pass the array from the function, from the main to the function, the address of this array will be point to the address of this array. That means actually you are passing the array to this one. So give it a name, say AR. Okay, now enter start of the function, end of the function. In the function, what we will do, we have to calculate the average. To calculate the average, you need the sum first. So let us declare the average and sum. So they are double, both of them double. Say that average it's A, and the sum it's S. Okay, and surely if you want to calculate the sum, we have to go from one element to another element in the array. That means we need a counter to go from one to another one. So we need a counter, say integer, because the index of the array is integer. Give it a name as I, no problem. And then start a loop to for loop. You can use while or for, it's up to you. I use for loop, it's straightforward, better. So the index, the first element index is 0 in the array, and I should be less than 6, because the last index in the array should be 5. So I should be less than 6, or less than or equal to 5. It could be like this, no problem. Okay, and then I plus plus to go from one to another one. So it should be incremented by 1. Start of the for loop, end of the for loop. Inside the for loop, you have to calculate the sum first. So sum, the current sum equal the old sum plus the current array element, which is say that average array or ages array, which element, the current element. It depends on the I value. Semicolon. We can write like this, no problem. At the same time, actually, the average array, ages array, it's a local array, belong to the main. So not accessible from the average, but remember that the address of the ages array and the AR pointing to the same location, memory location. So they are both same. Instead of writing ages of R, which is not accessible from here, just write AR of I. So actually, when write AR of I, it will get the ages AR of I. Once we finish the sum outside the for loop, we have to calculate the average. So A equal the sum divided by number of elements, which is 6. Because S here it's double, no need to multiply it by 1 as a float. Now once the function finish calculation, it should return the value. So write return which element I want to return, which variable. It is the A, the average, outside semicolon. Once the function finishing the calculation, it return back the value of the A to the location of call, and then assign to average, and then print it here, and then the end. Now let me run the program. The average f not defined. Function average f not defined. Maybe I have a mistake. Average f. We need E here. Function name is different. Run the program. Now it's okay. See, the average age is 26.83. End. In example number 3, third example, it says to calculate the standard deviation. Calculate SD function should be called from the function here name. It's clear that this function should not accept any value from outside, so should not pass any value to the function. A function is created, the array containing 10 elements, so we know the size of the array, and this array should be passed to the function and this function should calculate the standard deviation and returns it to the main function. That means the standard deviation should be printed in the main. So let me just change the program here. So first in the main, so I will change this one later, guys, okay? And I will change the function definition later, okay? Let me start from the main. In the main, we have to declare an array of 10 elements, and as seen in the output, they are integers. It could be float, they could be float or integers, up to you. So we have to declare the array. The array name, say that it is ARR array, okay? The size of the array is 10, and we don't know the values of the elements inside the array. We have to ask user to enter them, and we need also to calculate the standard deviation, say double SD, okay? And then we can write SD equal, call the function name, say SD function, okay? By passing the array, which is array, so we have to pass the array. Don't forget, don't write like this, remove them. Just write the name of the array when you want to pass it to a function. So the SD function should calculate the array elements average or standard deviation, and then return it back to here, and then saved inside SD, and then we have to print the value here. So the SD equal to LF, because it's double, and the variable is SD, not FG, okay? This is the main, our main. If I will run the function now, I run the program, it will say that the SD function not defined. And also we have to ask user to enter the array elements. Let us check that the function should ask the user to enter the elements or the main. To calculate the standard deviation, calculate SD function is created. The array containing 10 elements is passed to the function, and this function calculated the standard deviation, calculates the standard deviation and returns it to the main function. So it's not mentioned where we have to ask user to enter the array element. Is it in the main or in the function? So it's up to you. If it's open like this, you have to you can select to ask user about these elements in the main or in the function. That's up to you. So let me do it in the main. So in the main, to ask user to enter them, surely we need a loop. For the loop we need a counter, so let's use I. Before calculating the standard deviation, we have to create the array elements. So we have to start a loop for, right, for I equal 0, because the first element index is 0. I should be less than 10 because the last index should be 9, and I should be decreased by 1, increased by 1, sorry, incremented by 1. And this is the start of the loop, this is the end of the loop. Inside the loop we have to print a message, print f. You want to ask you to enter the first element, second element, so we can write please enter element, element number. We have to say 1, 2, 3, 4, so reserve a space for an integer. Then go to next line. So okay, from where we'll get this number, please enter element number %d from the I counter. But if I want to say that element number 1, for element number 1 the index is 0, so better to write +1 to make it just a clear message like this. And now we have to scan the value, scan f. We are scanning the array elements, they are integers, so we are scanning an integer, and then this integer should be saved in the array in which location? In the array of index I, it depends on I. So like this. Now we know the elements, all of the elements, then we can call the function. Now let me copy the function name, Ctrl C. At the beginning we have to declare the function. So write the function should return double. The function name is SD function, and this function should accept an array. Accept an array which is integer, because the array defined here as integer, declared as integer. The array size is 10. So let me this time pass the size. So integer also. Just to give you an example, let me go back to the function call and then write just 10 like this. Just 10, which is the size of the array. And then we go to definition. The name is SD function. It will accept an integer. I will save the past array from the function call. Array will be passing to AR, and also we need to declare an integer, say A, represent the size, or S small, anything A. And inside the function now, what we should do? This function, it should calculate the standard deviation of the AR. So we need double to calculate the standard deviation. We need the mean, by the way. Let's say that mean, and we need the standard deviation, say S. And to calculate also the standard deviation, we need the second mean. I will show you the definition later. So to go from one array element to other, we need the counter I, because we need a loop. I equals 0, I less than or equal to. We can remove the equality here and put 10, or actually the size of the array passed to A, so we can use A instead. Now let me calculate the mean first. To calculate the mean, we need the sum. So we need the so let me say that this is sum as M, and we need the result, which is the standard deviation. So the result, RES. So we can write sum equal the old sum plus the current array element, which is array of I. Once we finish this loop, we have the sum. Outside the sum, we can calculate the mean. So we can say that the mean equal the sum divided by A, which is number of elements. Once we finish the calculation of the sum, we need the second sum. The second sum, we need a loop also. So we can use another loop, or we can use the same loop, sum loop. It's okay. But if I want to say, not okay, I'm sorry, because I have to finish the sum first to calculate the second sum. So we need the for loop. Just to remind you, I will write the equation later, Ctrl C, and then Ctrl V. We have to calculate the second sum. So the second sum, SM capital, or we can say that, okay, SM capital, the second sum equal the old second sum plus the current, actually the current element minus the mean, which is the sum, okay, to the power of 2. So this one should be to the power of 2. So I have to call the power function. So power, okay, power array, the current element, minus the mean, the power of 2. Once we finish this loop, we have the second sum. Once we finish the second sum, we can calculate the result, which is the standard deviation, equal the square root, SQRT, the square root of the second mean divided by number of elements, which is A. This is the definition of the standard deviation. We can check that if you wish. Let us say that standard deviation. Now we can go to Wikipedia and then see what is the definition, just to show you what is the definition of the standard deviation. This is one of the definitions. It is sum of the element minus the mean to the power 2 divided by n or n minus 1. You can use both of them, or n minus 1, it's up to you. So let me go back to the equation and write a minus 1 like this between two brackets. So the first loop to calculate the sum, the second loop to calculate the second sum, which is the element minus the mean to the power of 2. Once we finish this second mean divided by a minus 1 square root, we will get the result. Now we have to return the result, which is the standard deviation. So the result will be returned back to this line here, and then assigned to SD, then printed here, and then print the end. Let me check just the variables. SM, capital, yes, result, it's okay. M is the mean. Where is the mean here? This is the mean. I'm sorry, we wrote it wrong. So this is M, the mean, and this M, second mean. No need for this one. Okay, and then we go back to here, mean. The mean value equal the mean plus AR of I. Sorry, it's the sum, not the mean. So keep it. Sum, okay, sum equals sum, and then mean equals sum, and here we have to change, not the sum. This is the mean, should be the mean. This one should be the mean according to equation. So the current element minus the mean value, the power of 2, then add them together to get the sum. Once we finish this one, we can calculate the standard deviation, then return the standard deviation. Now let me run the program. We have a mistake here. What this mistake? Argument number 2 of the function is not defined, and this function argument number 2, that means S capital D capital. It's D small, or we can, yes, D small. I'm sorry for that. We can learn from our mistakes. Run again. We have another problem. Yes, we need a semicolon here. Run the program. It's okay. Please see, enter number 1 element, say 1 as example, 2 say 2, 3 say 3, 4 5 6 7 8 9, and the last one is 10. The standard deviation, see the result, standard deviation equal 3.03. and I don't know if it's like the value it's correct or not, but it should be correct because we did it in a good way in our example. Example number the classwork. Let me end the video here, and then we will continue in another video.